A few weeks ago, I did a video on one of two Pro controllers that Sony released in its European territories, the Nacon Revolution. And today, I got my hands on the other one, the Razer Raiju. So we're gonna open this up and check it out and see what's a little different about it. So, first off, we have this little paper here. Congratulations! There is no turning back. That's kind of weird. Okay, so, it's kind of cool. It actually comes in its pouch right away. Open it up. A little Razer symbol on the front. And here is the controller. Now, just like with the Revolution, this is clearly more based on an Xbox One instead of the PS4 controller, because like I said before, it's honestly just a little more comfortable. There's a lot more bells and whistles on this one though. What's really interesting right away is you'll see it has this little control panel on the bottom that's really just like the headset controls that are on an Xbox One controller that you can attach. That comes with a lot of Pro headsets, although there are some different buttons here. Also, another difference right away is that unlike the Revolution, this one keeps both its sticks low like this instead of switching the D-pad and stick like they did on the Revolution to match Xbox One controllers. So there's a few more different buttons and things to look over here, so let's break down what exactly this controller does differently instead of a regular PS4 DualShock. To begin with, I have got to say this is one damn fine good looking controller. From the button and D-pad shapes to the home button and Razer logo on the touchpad, and more than anything really, I love the use of blue trim on the grips to give it some contrast. Originally looking at the box, I thought the little control center at the bottom would visually bother me a lot more, but it actually blends in really well with the rest of the controller's shape. So, it looks good, but what is it actually like to use this thing? Well, turns out it's actually really comfortable. I love the grips on this thing. One of the more interesting choices they made, though, is that the buttons on this are actually mechanical. So it's a lot closer to actually, like, clicking a mouse button than using a traditional controller, which is really weird the first time you use it. But once you get the hang of it, I actually really like it. It's especially used for situations where if you have to click something really rapidly, it's way easier. Something I don't like about this controller, though, is the sticks. Now, I get the idea of moving them both down here so that it matches with a DualShock 4 controller, but with this controller design, it just doesn't feel quite as comfortable to me. The bigger problem I have, though, is the grips themselves. They went with this sort of plastic matted thing that you can have that gives more grip and texture to your thumb. Some people really like this. Personally, I've never been a fan. They are removable, though. The downside, though, is when you remove them, you find out that it's pretty much a flat design, which is not great to use. It's not concave enough to really grip your thumb, it's not domed, it's just this flat shape that just doesn't work that great. So, besides build quality, what is this controller gonna do for you that a regular DualShock can't? Well, first off, it has 4 additional buttons that can be programmed to act in place of others. I really love the placement of these buttons. Each of them is comfortable, they're easy to reach, and they help keep your thumbs freed up so they can focus on just using the left and right analog sticks. And if you don't like having all of these extra buttons and feel like the back two get in the way of your grip, you can actually remove them to have a flush back instead, which is really easy to do. There's also a couple things you can do with the triggers. You've got these switches on the back that activate short stops on them, or if you prefer, you can actually turn on an actual hair trigger mode so the slightest pressure is gonna count as pressing down. Now, all of this is done with this little command center on the bottom here. You'll notice some traditional controls, like you can do volume control if you're using a headset or mic mute, but what's more important are these 2 buttons right here, which are going to allow you to activate, switch between, and even customize 2 different special profiles. And what's really interesting about this controller is that you're not using some kind of software on your computer, you're not hooking it up to anything, you're actually able to customize your profiles all through the controller directly. As an example, if you wanted to assign one of the mappable buttons to copying the circle button, all you have to do is hold down the profile button, then whichever button you want to assign a command to, and finally just hit the circle button. A similar command is also used for turning hair trigger mode off and on, meaning you can at any time really easily customize the controller on the fly. The only downside is that's really it for customization on this controller. No stick acceleration, no macros, just easier trigger pulls and a handful of extra buttons. So your mileage may vary with this thing. Personally, I don't use those options very much, so the Raiju is plenty for me, but if you want those options, this controller is gonna fall short for you. That, and if you have commitment issues and the controller coming with a letter saying there's no turning back now, might scare you just a little bit.